Sir, thank you very much for making time to speak with me. Happy Black History Month. I think it's important to recognize that as we are speaking. You have an incredible story. First, I just have to ask you, um, how does it feel celebrating Black History Month and being somebody who you can say right now is sort of setting the trend on what young cats getting into this business are doing when they decide, you know what, there might be one thing that I'm not happy about. I'm going to do something else that's going to make me happy. And that's what you've done. And it's one of the big things we're going to be talking about that is part of your career.
All right, I appreciate that. Yeah, so I mean, I take it like I appreciate Black History Month and I guess public facing recognition of all that we have done. But honestly, I try to tell it like as soon as March 1st hits, I'll be like, welcome to Black History Month. Right. So like to me, every month's Black History Month. So I appreciate it's public facing. There's a little bit more momentum behind it. But I mean, we have a dope history that needs to be celebrated 365 days a year. So I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm always putting it forward.
I absolutely agree with you on that, which is one of the big reasons why I wanted to talk to you. Because, like I said, you have a fascinating story. I want to talk about the beginning. First off, the love of music. Where did that come from for you?
Yeah, that was definitely my parents. They brainwashed us at an early age, had us dancing to like, you know what I'm saying, just Motown stacks and stuff like that. So stuff they used to play, we just have on the house all the time. So by the time I was already in love with music, as far as hip hop came, when honestly, so I'm from the South, it was like an old Cadillac was playing 8 Ball and MJG Lay It Down. And it was the first time like the sounds I was used to from like that my parents used to play was put to like certain flows and it kind of combined for me. So that's kind of like where my love of hip hop came from, just from my love of music.
So, as a youngster, did you do house parties? Did you perform at places? What did you do growing up?
Yeah, so no, I have a very atypical story. I wasn't interested at all in entertainment or rapping. I played ball just all the time, and that's it. Played ball, ran around. So it wasn't until college, because I actually I had three big fears, and one of them was public speaking. So because I could rap a little bit, I just entered a talent show to get over my fear of public speaking and rap. And then when I did it, I realized like my fear was fake in the sense I was just giving people power over holding me back. And so that combined with like my love of hip hop, and I started rapping off of just accident, right? So it was like getting over my fear of public speaking made me realize I like performing. That combined my love of rap. And so it wasn't until leaving college that it really happened for me.
Now, you did mention college. What did you take in college?
I got a BS degree from Stanford University in mechanical engineering.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. And that's what you ended up doing for a while. How long were you doing this for?
I'm gonna go with 0 days.
Ah, so
Yeah,
so
so
so when did the transition? So here you are, you're going to school, which is great, and you're getting an education. Was music then always sort of,
yes,
uh
yeah, exactly. So what happened was after I did the talent show, which was my junior year in college, I basically started rapping more and more. So I decided the summer before my senior year, when I was doing a internship for General Motors, that I was gonna rap. And so I basically graduated and never worked a day in engineering, even though I was getting like offers. Yeah. So that's
okay,
my
so here's the thing. You've got a lucrative job,
yep,
okay, coming your way.
yep.
House, car, picket fence, the whole bit. You decide to go after something that there are millions of people hoping to even get somebody to look at them. When
Yeah.
you told your family about this
Right.
and your friends, what were their thoughts?
Oh, so let me be clear. Nobody understood. Like like I give my parents as much credit as I possibly can in the sense of they didn't go crazy. They were just like, what? Like, what's going? Like, help us understand how this makes any type of sense. Because also to add to it, once again, it wasn't like I was rapping before, so it wasn't even like people saw it coming, right?
Yeah.
So my parents were like, "Boy, what's wrong with you?" Like, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, for me, so the same things like you said that millions of people are into. For me, it was not just the chasing of that like entertainment and fame. It was this is something one I really feel I can do and also do a level in the community to actually have an impact. So it wasn't just the sense of I love it, which I did, but also I saw it as the most powerful form of speaking to like our generation and future generations, right? So it's kind of
It's true.
like if I thought about it when I was younger, you were like, or my parents younger, they would be like civil rights people from Martin Luther King, so on, you know, Rosa. Whereas like people when I was growing up, and now it's like they cite entertainers and athletes, right? Like they
Mhm.
have influence on the culture as far as not just in the music and what they do, but also in terms of like socioeconomic levels. And so all I saw was also like, this is something I love, but also could affect the community and the people that I also care about. So it was always that dual sided thing, even though it wasn't until later I started doing a lot more in the community with it.
You know, the thing I've always said is that the two best storyteller genres is hip hop and country music. I think they tell the best stories. What kind of stories did you like to tell for your generation or talk about?
Yeah, so for me, it was always just like, so my favorite rapper is different from my greatest rapper, but the greatest rappers to me always just told their life, no matter how hypocritical or what mood it was. So for me, it was just like telling my story in a sense of here's this dude who actually came from this college and came from like this area in the South, and this is my story because the story that spoke to me was when, like you said, people let me in on their world. So I just wanted to tell like my world, and I knew if I did it skilled enough or dope enough, people would relate. So it was just purely like real life music.
Amazing. Amazing. So when did the transition actually come? Okay, so here you are, you say, I'm going to do music. I'm not going to take the GM job. What
Right.
happens after that? When does the transition start going to you recording and then starting to release music? What happens there? Because as we know, you got to get some kind of job to be able to keep your music career going. It's not easy.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. So this is where it gets weird. So I basically I was a substitute teacher. I went to New York and I was substitute teacher, and that was an experience because I was like, 3 years older than the people I was teaching. They was like, bro, we don't respect you, bro. And I was like, cool, I don't respect y'all neither. So I was doing that. And then what I did, I came back to a city close to where I was from, Little Rock, and I teamed up with another dude from college who was just let off, and we formed a record label at the time. And then we
Mhm.
just started like professional paying, like every day, just out pushing it. And then the job I had to supplement with that was just like odd jobs here and there, doing accounting work, never 9 to 5, but finding jobs that I could do on my own time while pushing the music. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Until I'm sorry.
it's sorry to interrupt, but I'm curious though. All this traveling and odd jobs and things like that, did that affect the way you wrote your music? In other words, the stories that you were telling? Because even though you said that, a lot of the people you looked up to talked about, their life and whatever, you're already leading an incredible life right there from leaving college to following your dream to all of these odd jobs to traveling to different points in North America. Did that actually start seeping into your music in your writing?
It did, but here was the problem. Here's the problem. This is
Mhm.
me all the way honest. By the time I decided I started to rap, I wasn't really a good rapper, and I knew it. Like I was, because whereas all the dudes on my label have been rapping for like 10 years, so they knew their voice, knew their pen game. For me, it took a good 6 to 7 to me to find my voice and how to make music. So although it was
Yep.
informing my music, it was real hit or miss in terms of like, oh, this is a good song, this one's not. So it wasn't until maybe a few years of doing it where it's like now my voice and my skill is up to like the life I was leading, and then it became real part of it, right? So it became like, okay, that's the rapper who's kind of in this pocket. It was interesting because we would hit a lot of southern clubs, and at the time, it was like Master P Crunk was getting real big, and so
Yes.
for me and my crew, they were like, yeah, we don't rock with y'all. Like y'all be talking about some other stuff. So it was just kind of hard to integrate at first, but it worked because a few people did, and we were able to find our own pocket. And then there was a huge change once I started going overseas. That changed it up even more for me.
What was that like? Where did you go overseas?
So it was to overseas to work. So I was actually considering like stopping rapping, and I got called to go to Gambia to do in West Africa to do a workshop.
Is that when
Yeah,
you became an ambassador, or is that later on?
that's the yeah,
Okay, so
exactly.
talk about that and talk about what your title was, please.
Yeah, so it's called like either cultural ambassador or some people call it hip hop ambassador. The
Mhm.
first time I did it, it's essentially you go over and you do workshops and have a concert and different things within the community. So they'll pick different spots the U.S. Embassy takes you around, or whoever your liaison is. And so the first time I did it, I thought it was just gonna be a one-off thing, but it was eye-opening and mind-blowing. So even when I came back, I was like, I want to integrate more in community in like my hip hop, right? So it then became this overlap of still rapping and making music, but also figuring out like how to connect these things in terms of directly impacting the community. Whereas before it was more like it'll work out. Now I was like actively figuring out programming to do so. And then I went right back to Africa, to Mauritius and Seychelles in 6 months later. And that's kind of when it became more of a start becoming more of a regular thing.
What was it like being in the motherland? I mean, just a few months ago, I was in South Africa myself for a music conference for the first time, and it was it for me it was life changing. What was it like for you?
Very similar. Very similar. Like it was like you know, when you go there, because I've been to 10 countries now, 8 with work. And like when you go there and it's like, welcome home, brother, or you know what I'm saying, you see the land and you see like the potential and beauty that we were robbed from, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? In a sense
yeah.
of like, oh, we were here. And even the potential beauty we were robbed from, but also still seeing like what was robbed from them through imperialism and South Africa, in particular apartheid, but seeing like the beauty of the spirits for me, right? In the sense of like, here's these people with these beautiful spirits and are welcoming and are kind of like, hey, this could be the future. Like this was the past.
Yes.
That's heavy, but let's own it and realize who we are now and make our future better, like together on this cross continental thing. So it was powerful, man.
Amen. Okay, now explain exactly what is the okay. I want to make sure I've got this right. Far from Finish, the series and soundtrack. What is that exactly? I've read it over again, but I'm not quite sure exactly what it is.
Cool. That's good. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I got you. So it was basically I'm doing a lot more in terms of like filmmaking as well, right? And so for me, first story I wanted to tell was loosely based on my life in terms of when you're at a certain point in life, but it's like you still want more. So it's kind of
Yeah.
from the standpoint of understanding you had a dope history and past, but this ain't it for you. So you're going for more, right? So it's like loosely based off my life, this 8-part web series, but then there's 8 songs to correspond to each of the episodes. So like Takeoff is that first one of, oh, I'm about to take off still, you know what I'm
How long did it take you to put that together, man?
saying?
And I'm curious too. Did you have to do this during COVID?
Yeah, so now we're going on 2 years now. It's like, so for instance, I've done smaller productions on web series or writing.
Mhm.
Uh then we're going on like 2 years now. So yeah, started like roughly end of 2020, top of 2021. And like, yeah, so you know, it's kind of putting all the hope together, the team. So it's 2 things, right? It's putting together production of a series and then still making a complete album. So
How and how did COVID affect your career? Because for a lot of people, I mean, there were some people who never even came back because of it, because of everything being shut down.
oh yeah, so it completely deleted everything I had. So for me, 2020, I had set up to be like this pivotal year. I had a tour. I perform with a live band now, 7-piece live band. So I
Yeah.
had a tour. I had like this other show, and I had some other community work. And literally within 2 days, and no joke, like all of my jobs got erased. Like literally the whole slate for the year, all future jobs. So then it just became a matter of like figuring out what's next. So that's kind of where the Far From Finish came from, because it was like, do I now pivot into something that would make sense, completely like build a foundation on, you know, way more behind the scenes, way more like, I don't know, you say like way more like infrastructure wise. And it was like, or do you still feel like there's something that's there that needs to be created? And that's kind of where the whole Far From Finish came from, was like, cool, I respect and appreciate everything I've done, but that ain't it. You know what I'm saying?
What about new music? What's going on with that? New single out right now?
Yeah, so Takeoff is the first single that's related to the first episode in the sense of that mindset where you're like almost called irrational confidence. It's just kind of like, you know, as an MC and just having that hunger, just kind of like, hey, let me make this statement of what I'm doing and what it is. And then following up with this one's a single called Spike Lee, which is what I call a tribute to Black excellence with the edge. So yeah.
I hope Spike hears this, man.
Yeah, we're gonna put it. I'm aiming the whole rollout for that now for to come out soon. But those are the 2 things.
What's the rest of 2023 looking like? You talked about how when COVID hit, live tour has gone away. Are they coming back?
Yeah, everything is cool. So right now I'm lining up some things for latter part of summer, early fall in terms of performances. Also, I'm doing another residency, not in Africa, but I'm going to the Philippines and doing a residency up there. And then I'll have some programming and really just focusing on this project in terms of the web series and the music. So I'm really all in. Got a like small team together. Yeah, far from finished, just pushing it hard.
Last question. What advice can you give some of these young folks, even though when you were teaching, you were only 3 years older than them, but you may be 3 years older, but spiritually 100 years older than them. What advice can you give the young folks out there who are trying to follow their dreams, especially after COVID and so many things that we are seeing on the news and social media where there's more negative than positive? What can you throw in to try to raise that positivity up?
Right, right. So I try to give like real pragmatic advice that they could actually apply. So for me, I always say is like do a small project, learn from it, repeat. Right? Artists like to
Mhm.
talk so much about like what they're gonna do or what it could be. So it's like do something you could do in like 6 months, analyze it, get better, do it again, and just keep getting better. You'll find yourself like light years ahead.
I love it. My friend, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. So happy that you and I had a chance to meet. And let's keep doing this, man. When you got more things going on, I would love for this platform to present it. Congratulations. And again, thank you so much for the interview.
I'm more than appreciative. I appreciate it.